In this video, we'll show you how you can use Instagram stories to convert more of your audience into clients, or simply get more sales, or simply start more conversations. By the end of it, I will also show you some of my best performing stories so you can just model them. Before we get into it, we got to talk about what does it mean best performing. In this specific scenario, I'm going to talk about reach, how you can reach the most of your audience. Because most of the time, on average, I've seen people reach 2 to maybe 5% of their audience. On a good day, maybe 10. My best story has reached 35% of my audience. So 35,000 people have seen my story. One thing before we hop onto my iPad is to understand why stories are important. Because when somebody is on Instagram, they're just literally scrolling for brain rot. They're there like, haha, next, haha, next, haha, next. So we're technically interrupting them when they scroll up on your reel, they see something valuable, they follow you, and then they forget you, they go into the next one. Stories are intentional. Sometimes people will click on your story intentionally and see what you have going on. Other times people will scroll on your story from another story. And that's okay. So the point to understand that they're in a different mindset. They're not there to go like, haha, next, right? They're there to go, I'm wondering what is going on with people's lives. So with that in mind, they are more open to your offers. So before we hop on my iPad here and I show you some stuff, first thing to understand is that reach and algorithm is all based on engagement. So if you get people to engage with your stuff, the algorithm will recognize that and it will send out your stuff to more people. So with that in mind, you have to think about, well, how can I make this story the most engaging? When I'm talking about engagement, think in terms of a point system. If somebody DMs you from your story, it's very engaging, especially if you DM them back. The algorithm sees that and it sends out to more people. If somebody just leaves your story or they skip it or they just press a like on your story, that type of engagement is good, but it's not as good as somebody like sending you a message. The biggest engagement point or the biggest leverage, can I say, is when somebody watches a video in full. Because I'm sure you've posted Instagram stories, right, as videos, and you might have noticed that when you post an image, your story reaches more people. It's because an image is short and it's straightforward. And if you have a lot of text, as long as it's pretty well designed, people spend time reading it. That's why I actually don't recommend posting videos unless you really know what you're doing. And I will explain to you why. So with that in mind, let's talk about the best way to get your next sale using Instagram stories. So number one is that we want to maximize, let's just say max reach. So how do we maximize the reach? Or how do we show in the algorithm that the story is very engaging and send it out to more people? So first of all, we want to let the previous stories expire because we want a fresh slate, right? So we want to wait for stories to expire, because it gives us a fresh slate. And this is the reason why we can just post a fresh story that's very engaging and accumulate the, let's call them algorithm points. Number two is to give something people to engage with. So ideally you want to have some sort of lead magnet. And that lead magnet has to be high in perceived value. And I will give you some examples as well. I don't always do just lead magnets. I actually just put digital products on my stories so that people, when they reply to my story, they get a link to the product and I just continue the conversation, ask them questions. Now, once you post a lead magnet, you're gonna get a lot of replies. Those replies are gonna indicate the algorithm that it's engaging us. It's an engaging story and it's gonna send out to more people. One thing to note that your lead magnet has to be for your audience, for your target audience, or for the majority of the audience that you have. So if you know that your audience is, a majority of your audience is video editors, you could frame your lead magnet like it will help them get more clients. Or you just say this is for video editors. And then you put the outcome as something like, here's how to get your next retainer client. Now, not only video editors want retainer clients, photographers, videographers, freelancers, everybody wants retainer clients. So a lot of people can respond to that story and it will increase the reach. But you want to focus on the biggest segment of your audience, because these are the people that will reply to you, which means it will boost your story in the stories algorithm, essentially. So then the next question is, how do we make this process as simple as possible? Well, we want to have one simple keyword reply. One simple keyword reply. So it could be sales, could be editor, could be cash, could be leads, whatever you want it to be. Make it simple and clear. You don't want to overcomplicate it. And by the way, before I forget, your lead magnet should have a clear promise and a clear outcome. Like, what will they get? And I will show you some examples, as I've said, later. And then finally, we want to have a mini chat automation, because it will deliver a lead magnet to them. Now, of course, if you're not getting hundreds of replies, then you don't really need a mini chat automation, but you want to deliver the thing that people request as fast as possible. You don't want to wait too long, because if you wait too long, then they're obviously not going to consume the thing. It will prevent you from starting the conversation or even getting a sale. So now that we kind of have these foundations in place, I'm going to show you some story design examples that can maximize the reach for you. All of these are very similar, but this one reached 20,000 people in my audience when I think I had like 90,000 followers at the time. So this is a very significant reach, because I know that a lot of my audience is video editors, because I've built that type of audience. Story for another day. But as you can see here, this one is for the editors, specific call out. I have a product name, high ticket editor, and then a promise, like how to get your next high ticket retainer client, with a simple call to action. Reply ticket for details. This got 20,000. I actually don't remember how many replies I got, but I know that this story alone brought me about 100 sales or so. Now, these ones, they all got a similar reach, as you can see, but the design itself, again, is pretty simple. Reply, keyword, what do they preview essentially, and then what it will do for them, right? And a bit of scarcity as well. Same here, reply with the keyword, what's the thing that they get, boom, more details, done and dusted. It's funny because it's the same reach. Yeah, it is the same reach. What do they get? Just me a bit of for familiarity. The keyword, reply, what is it? Like, what's the name of it, right? And then it's kind of like, there's a bit of what would you call mismatch, right? Because it says viral hook library and this says 365 viral hooks, because the viral hook library had the 365 hooks. But what it will do for them, so you can create your next viral hit and make more money. These were, by the way, made when I had, I think, 80,000 to 70,000 followers. So a bit less of an audience, but pretty predictably 10% plus of audience reach. Then I have a couple more examples, which is more simpler. Again, it was like my birthday week. I have a gift for you. Reply with a secret and I'll send it over. 18,000 people. I got a bunch of replies. Then we finally have this other one, which is, again, I'm making my LUTs available for a limited time. Respond, and I'll send you the link. Because prior to this story, I've made the LUTs offer many times, but I always take it off the market, and I don't think I'll be selling them anytime soon. Therefore, people responded to it. I got 12,000 engagement and a few sales. So every time I make a story, I always get sales, which is great. That's what you kind of want to do. Now, you don't want to be selling in every story. You obviously want to share more value, show a bit of who you are, what your life is about, etc. I'm going to show you now the story that got me the most views or the biggest reach, which is crazy because it was a video, and actually I had two videos that performed really well. So my very first video was actually a drone crashing out of the sky from that POV, which got, I believe, just a bit over 10,000 reach, and I had like 40,000 followers, which is madness, right? Crazy numbers. And then recently, just as a test, I posted a story of my fiance just kind of goofing around. And this story alone got 36,000 views. Now, it's just a short video, and it's also a funny insight that if you just post a cute female on your stories, you will get a lot more views. So what you can do is use beautiful people in your stories so you can get more leads. And also that a lot of people are just thirsty. This is just an insight that I got essentially. So if you want my help installing a system that builds your audience of qualified leads so you can turn them into clients, down below you can click a link and find more information.